The Faith Check, who runs a lovely YouTube channel, has a series called DDOJ, for Daily Dose of Jesus. It primarily discusses different approaches to dealing with our many friends and family members who plaster their Facebook pages with theistic memes and messages. While on wide-open forums like blogs and YouTube, theists have lost the battle on every conceivable front, social networks tend to isolate people back into a circle of friends more similar to those they encounter in real life. In many cases, that involves placing a theist majority all around a non-believing minority. This tends to result in hardcore and casual Christians alike promoting or reinforcing their religious beliefs before a smiling, nodding, and thumb-upping majority audience. I consider such posts to be an opportunity for dialogue with my theistic friends and family members who I believe have thick enough skin to handle it, or, in some cases, those who post such insufferable nonsense receiving such absurd approval that I feel too compelled to bite my tongue, so to speak. It's interesting how many of them are insulted by the presence of a dissenting opinion regarding comments, poems, pictures, scriptures, and links that they posted to a public forum. I don't go waltzing into churches bringing arguments to people in their place of worship, and I don't recommend that anyone do so. However, if someone wants to bring the discussion to a public marketplace of ideas, including digital forums, I'm happy to offer my thoughts, which I'd expect they would want to receive. After all, if I post video links or status updates of an anti-religious nature, I fully expect for my theistic friends to offer their thoughts in the comments section. It seems that they, however, feel that Facebook should just be their friendly, happy place where nothing they share should ever be sincerely challenged. I disagree. The Faith Check is asked to see some other people's DDOJs, so here's one of mine. The original poster I'm responding to is a family member. I've replaced her picture with a blue cross, and mine with a red A, to both hide identities and maintain clarity of who said what. I think you'll see a healthy example of the kind of dialogue for which this kind of event affords us the opportunity. Here is her first post. Best poem in the world. I was shocked, confused, bewildered as I entered heaven's door, not by the beauty of it all nor the lights of its decor. But it was the folks in heaven who made me sputter and gasp, the thieves, the liars, the sinners, the alcoholics, and the trash. There stood the kid from 7th grade who swiped my lunch money twice. Next to him, my old neighbor, who never said anything nice. Bob, who I always thought was rotting away in hell, was sitting pretty on cloud 9, looking incredibly well. I nudged Jesus. What's the deal? I would love to hear your take. How'd all these sinners get up here? God must have made a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue. Hush, child, he said. They're all in shock. No one thought they'd be seeing you. Judge not! Remember, just going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in your garage makes you a car. Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. Now it's your turn. Share this poem. Life without God is like an unsharpened pencil. It has no point. Had to share. I consider this to be a sorry excuse for a poem. I could have posted a variety of criticisms of it. I could have asked what kind of asshole would expect a neighbor to deserve to eternally roast in hell just because he never said anything nice, or for someone who stole lunch money in 7th grade to deserve eternal punishment of that nature. The poet, if he or she can be called that, could have at least chosen more poignant examples of what's expected to merit hellfire. The general message of the poem, however, is to not judge, which is something I can get on board with. My real beef with this poem, besides the ludicrous claim that this is the best poem in the world, is the concluding line that states that life without God has no point. I didn't consider this post to be too worthy of my criticism until it accused me of having a pointless life. It's especially frustrating to see a post with that kind of claim getting 5 likes in a short span of time. So here's how I responded. Actually, life without God in this sense is a lot like life without Peter Pan, Santa Claus, or leprechauns. We godless folk get along just fine, and don't need to be reminded by Facebook statuses, preachers, or contradicting Bible verses to not judge whether people are worthy of eternal suffering or reward. This post serves several functions. Firstly, it voiced an opposition to show that putting bullshit into a public forum where I can see it is not something that will be tolerated just for the sake of not making waves. In this case, posting a message about not judging people and then stating that anyone who lives without your God has a pointless life is hypocritical and needs to have its foolishness called out. Secondly, I pointed to the absurdity of what this claim seems like to individuals who the godless claim applies with a very simple analogy. If the poster wanted to claim that there was any more evidence for the existence of her God than what there is for Peter Pan, Santa Claus, etc., then we could have taken the conversation in that direction. Lastly, it shows that non-believers actually have the moral high ground in this situation, because none of us run around accusing people of their sinful actions, buying them tickets to an eternity of fiery torture. It's a shame that a group such as Christians would even need bad poetry, parables, or anecdotes to be reminded not to do that. Here's how she replied. To each his own, my name. No one makes your mind up for you, or tries to steal your soul here. And the godless folk don't have to read it. Despite that I never said anything about soul stealing or accused anyone of attempting to do that through Facebook, I left the first comment alone. I found the part about saying to each his own to also be in juxtaposition to the earlier claim that all lives void of God are pointless. It was her second comment, however, that disturbed me, as it claimed that someone who disagrees with posts like that should just not read them. The idea that people can publicly spout any variety of bullshit with the onus on anyone who disagrees with it to just ignore it really rubs me the wrong way. So I replied like this. Then the true Christians don't have to read my comments that dare to suggest that I don't need their God to be a good person, even if it's on a post about someone who, because of his or her belief, was inclined to judge people to hell because they never said anything nice, claiming it's the best poem in the world. Ideas put on a public forum need to stand up to public scrutiny. I felt like this got my original point across without being impolite or divisive. Her reply was this. I read your comments, and I believe that I am a true Christian. I never said an atheist is not a good person based on their non-belief. People are good for their actions and behaviors and how they help their fellow man. The poem is based on not judging people. I don't judge people on their personal belief or non-belief. I know what I believe. I wanted to make sure that she understood my point was about the original post itself, and that if you're going to share it as something you support, then you are accountable for the scrutiny that comes with it. So I replied with this. I never said you did, but the poem is about a Christian who did, and who never would have had it not been for his or her Christianity. She replied as follows. Human nature, I'd imagine. People tend to think sinners aren't worthy of forgiveness, but to be a Christian, you have to learn forgiveness and to leave the judging to God. Jesus was scrutinized by many, so for that, I think I can be as well. I respect that we agree to disagree on this one. Her reply could have been addressed as well, and we could have made a much longer, more frustrating argument out of it. However, I think it's important to recognize when to bow out of a public argument, especially of a DDOJ nature, wherein you don't expect to change the poster's mind. The point is to show all of the people looking on that there is opposition to this way of thinking, and that people don't have to roll over and accept things of this nature without question, just because it's popular. In addition to responding to religious posts, I also have no reservations about posting statuses that express my views of religion. If religious friends disagree, they're free to comment. I'm happy to bring the conversation to me, and I'll leave you with an example here.